What's up, YouTube? Nate, the old school otaku here, and what I've got sitting on my TV tray right next to my trusty chair could potentially be a game changer. What am I talking about? Well, I think it's time for me to review the brand new Diet Pepsi aspartame free. Stay tuned. And welcome back. So, what I've got in my hand is a 20-ounce bottle of the brand new Diet Pepsi here. It is now aspartame free, as told by its bottle. And something I found out a few weeks ago, I was, sitting watching TV. I was visiting my family, and they actually have cable. Unlike me, I don't bother shelling out for cable because I get all of my content online. But either way, though, sitting there watching it, and I see an ad for aspartame-free Diet Pepsi. Now, I've always been an adamant drinker of regular Pepsi. I prefer Pepsi. I'm a Pepsi guy over top of Coke. And I've never been a fan of the diet products because all of the diet products used aspartame as their sweetener. So when I reviewed the Coke Life before, it was a pleasant surprise to see a sweetener other than high fructose corn syrup or sugar or aspartame being used. Now granted, that version had cane sugar and stevia for that Coke, and it was kind of odd. But the one thing that I've never liked is aspartame. Aspartame just left this horrible, bitter, nasty aftertaste. And what I drank, trying to drink diet anything with aspartame, it just had this off-putting flavor. So to see that Pepsi has stepped up and decided to make a aspartame-free version of their diet product, that intrigued me because one of the things that I had to do is cut out a lot of my sugar intake to kind of help. It's helped me lose weight. It's made me. It's helped a lot actually. I feel a lot better now that I've cut out a lot of the sugar from my diet. I still drink Kool-Aid. I love Kool-Aid. I drink a lot of Kool-Aid, and I use stevia as my sweetener for it now. And but the one thing I've kind of held back on is my cola. I really love to drink a glass of cola with my lunch and my dinner. Anytime I eat a meal, I want cola. Now at home, I drink caffeine-free variety because I have issues with migraines. Have had issues with migraines for a very long time, and so I kind of started drinking caffeine-free Pepsi. But I can get that at home, sure, but when I go out to dinner or something like that, most restaurants don't stock a caffeine-free variety of any of their drinks. And if they do, it's going to be caffeine-free of the diet variety. So to see Pepsi step up and make this aspartame-free version of diet, I was intrigued because, honestly, if I can get diet product that tastes just as good as the regular product, I might actually switch to drinking diet. So this is a very interesting prospect for me. So I had to pick myself up one, and in the process, might as well go over some of the details here in order to figure out what all's in a bottle of Diet Pepsi. One of the first things is you notice on most bottles and whatnot, there's a calorie counter. Well, for Diet Pepsi, even especially this version of Diet Pepsi, it says 0 calories, as you can see here. Now, a normal 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi, if I remember right, is around 260 calories, because that's what I wind up drinking at the office. Go into the office, I have lunch, and they kind of help out, so it's only 50 cents for a 20-ounce. winds up being cheaper than going out and buying cans or whatnot to take in myself. And it's about 260 calories for the whole thing. Now, granted, technically, well, actually, no, and here it says serving size 1 bottle, but I mean, that's a lot of calories. And sugar, it's like 63, 64 grams of sugar, I think, something like that, maybe a little bit more, as far as the regular Pepsi goes, per serving. So this, you've got 0 calories, 0 grams of fat, 60 milligrams of sodium. So if you're a salt nut like me, I love salt. That's pretty good. If you can't have a lot of salt, that's not so great. Total carbs, 0. Sugars, 0. Protein, 0. This is almost like drinking water as far as the nutritional values go on the nutrition chart. And I'll have some links and other information posted around me while I'm talking about all of this, so you guys can kind of read a little bit better what all's in here. But the one thing that I was, interested about is what sweetener does this Pepsi use? And so I went looking. Before I even bought this, when I was found out about it, I went to the store, found myself a bottle that actually had now aspartame free to see what type of sweetener they were using. And it shows right here, sucralose. Not sure if you guys can read it very well, but it's right there, sucralose. And what is sucralose? Well, those of you who follow artificial sweeteners and different types of things like that might recognize what sucralose is, but those of you who don't, you know what sucralose is, because I'm not sure anyone at this point doesn't know what Splenda is. Splenda is sucralose. So it's an interesting prospect, because I've had Splenda. I've done a taste test before just by myself of the difference between a packet of sugar and a packet of Splenda. And to be honest, a packet of Splenda tastes almost exactly like a packet of sugar. Sucralose is kind of, it's made from sugar. So it doesn't have like the bad properties, the energy properties of sugar, but it has the sweetness. So there is that. And obviously, one of the reasons why I like Pepsi over top of Coke is the sweetness factor. I always prefer sweetness. And, it doesn't matter whether it's blind or not. I usually prefer the sweeter Pepsi over top of Coke. So this definitely is interesting. I know this thing says it's sugar-free, very low sodium, 35 milligrams or less per 240 milliliters or 8 ounces. Because technically, a serving normally is only about 8 ounces as far as you consider. You're supposed to drink based off of cups of water. So, I mean, this is a 20 ounce, so you get 2.5 8 ounces from this. But yeah, that's really enough little information about what all goes into this. I mean, there's tons of other things in here, the standard caffeine and whatnot, and it was a lot easier to find a cold bottle of just this, the caffeinated version, than it was the non-caffeinated version. But well, let's go ahead and open it up and give her a taste and see what this tastes like. Now, I've always been of the opinion that cola, or pretty much everything, tastes better out of a glass. So I've got myself a nice little, brandy sniffer in order to sit here and taste this. So let's open her up and give her a shot, shall we? All right. Well, kind of smells like Pepsi. I'll know a little bit more once I pour it in here. All right. So, I mean, just looking at it, it looks like Pepsi. It's cola. Giving it a smell, well, it kind of smells like Diet. I don't know if you kind of know the smell of Diet versus the smell of regular, but it does definitely have kind of the more smell of Diet. Kind of the smell I equate with Diet is a lot similar to the aftertaste of Diet usually, at least in my opinion, as far as my taste buds go. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. It's not too heavily bubbly either. So there's actually, it seems like less carbonation in here, or there's just not enough nucleation points in this glass. Either way, well, bottoms up. Hmm. Huh. Okay. On first taste, it's really hard to make out. Um, when I go out to dinner with my family, a lot of times my mother loves to drink diet. That's what she drinks. And a lot of times, waitresses, waiters, or whatnot can oftentimes get my order mixed up. You know, if someone else orders diet at the table, a lot of times they'll bring me diet. Or what will happen is I'll have like a half-drunk glass of regular at first, and then they'll take it, and then they go refill it, and what they refill it with is diet. So kind of on first flavor, on first taste, it tastes kind of like a mixture, kind of a half and half of regular and old diet. But the one major thing that I have to say is it's not leaving that aspartame flavor in your mouth. It doesn't taste quite like sugared or high fructose corn syrup. Pepsi. I definitely can taste that there's that lack of sugar, but there's not necessarily that lack of sweetness. My tongue still feels sweet, and there's a bit of an after flavor to it. I'm not going to deny that. It's not the same as the aftertaste of cola or whatnot, but it does seem a bit lighter. I'm trying to remember the term, but usually, you know, if you drink a lot of cola instead of water, oftentimes you can kind of get what I like to call cola mouth, or cola spit, basically, where it's like the syrup or the sugar or whatnot, and it kind of caramelizes and makes your saliva really thick and kind of Coke-like in certain ways. And I don't taste any of that. This tastes clean, I guess is the term here. It doesn't taste muddied, doesn't taste dirtied, doesn't taste like there's a whole ton of particulates in the suspension here of the Pepsi. Instead, it's very clean, very light. Kind of all passes through. Don't tell my dentist I did that. Any dentist will probably tell you shouldn't be washing your mouth with cola, but it helps kind of aerate it a little bit and give me a little bit more of those notes. Yeah, it's odd. To be completely honest, it's odd. Obviously, I'm used to drinking sugared cola, so it's a very odd flavor that I'm getting here. I don't taste the sugar, but I still taste the sweetness. And I'm actually missing a little bit of the other notes that I consider cola notes, cola flavors, but not entirely. Actually, to be honest, this kind of tastes like I'm drinking Coke. Well, not Coke, but I spent a long time in the South and up north and whatnot, and so I use the term Coke to mean cola, because Coca-Cola, and so sometimes I slip, and when I'm meaning to say cola, I'll say Coke instead, because I'll go to a waitress or something at a restaurant, and I'll say I want a Coke with no ice, and it's a place that I know perfectly well serves Pepsi, and obviously I would prefer Pepsi, but I still say the term Coke. And then the waitress is like, "Hey, is Pepsi okay?" I'm like, "Pepsi's perfect." I'm just one of those weird guys that says that uses the term Coke for cola, but yeah, it kind of tastes like I'm at a restaurant and I had a very spicy meal, not necessarily spicy hot, but spicy flavor, tons of spices, kind of numbs the tongue, and it kind of tastes like I'm drinking cola after a bit of a numb tongue. Yeah, that's exactly what it tastes like. Um, it doesn't taste bad though, and that's the one key thing that I can pull from all of this. This doesn't have that aspartame aftertaste. There's a little bit of an aftertaste, and it's kind of the aftertaste that I remember from when I was doing my taste test of Splenda versus versus sugar. Is it does seem to have a bit of that Splenda aftertaste, which isn't bad necessarily. It's different. I mean, obviously, stevia has a bit of a aftertaste too, and I've gotten used to that. Um, this definitely seems like something I could potentially get used to. It doesn't taste horrible to me, and that's the one thing about Diet Cola, especially the diet, diet's been using aspartame and whatnot. It always tastes horrible to me. Very very nasty flavor, I've always thought, and this tastes pretty good actually. Yeah, yeah, I like this. I was kind of, I mean, to be honest, I was kind of hoping I would like this, and let's see what it tastes like right out of the bottle. Yeah, kind of that similar flavor. Um, it's different. It is different, and obviously, if this were to become my daily driver for cola, um, obviously I'm going to have to try and find caffeine-free version, which isn't hard. Caffeine-free Diet Pepsi, the diet variety of caffeine-free diet variety is easier to find than the caffeine-free regular variety most places. So that's not a big issue. It's just it's going to take me a little bit to get used to it. Obviously, I mean I'm so used to sugared drinks that you know this will take some getting used to. But all in all, I approve. I actually like this better than Coke Life. For those of you who've watched me do a review of Coke Life, exactly that. I like this better than Coke Life. It's got that cola flavor that I love. It's got that distinct Pepsi smoothness that I like. One of the reasons why I prefer Pepsi over Coke isn't just the sugared content. Excuse me. Drinking a lot of carbonated soda will kind of get you to burp, won't it? But yeah, one of the reasons is the sugar content. It's sweeter. But the other reason is it's smoother. Coke is kind of very harsh. It's tends to have a bit more carbonation in it, and when you're drinking it, it's definitely harsher, thicker, doesn't go down quite as easily. Whereas this goes down just like water practically, and it's one of the reasons why I prefer Pepsi. So yeah, that's kind of my end thought on all of this. I think this is a step in the right direction. I'm not sure sucralose is necessarily the best artificial sweetener. I mean, obviously, there's tons of debate out there about which sweetener should you use. Should you use agave or stevia or sweet and low or any of those other ones? I mean, obviously stevia. And pure stevia, I will say I am a fan of pure stevia. I use it. But as far as it's really difficult to use stevia, especially pure stevia, to do like baking and other things that requires that extra volume. Whereas sucralose, stevia or not stevia, Splenda, can kind of be substituted almost one for one with sugar for baking and other things. So it's definitely something that can be used in order to make to make your standard meals and other things that you would normally use sugar without having to resort to things like stevia where you're sitting there buying the stevia in the store and it's about 99% filler because I mean pure stevia extract, I mean you only need a quarter teaspoon of pure stevia extract to sweeten a gallon of water. So if you're trying to go 1 for 1, that's normally 2 cups of sugar sweetens that same amount. If you're only using a 1/4 teaspoon, where's all that extra volume coming from? So, but that's just me, a little bit of my soapbox. And honestly, I don't have an opinion either way. To be entirely honest, I'm more about what tastes good and potentially what hopefully doesn't cause cancer. So there is that, and I don't have an opinion on any of that either way. I'm more about what tastes good, what would I buy, what would I drink, and to be entirely honest, Pepsi, I think you got one, and I very well might be switching to Diet Pepsi here in the near future. Obviously, it's going to take me a little while to wean myself towards this, in order to get myself to really kind of like it. But yeah, and as more stores and restaurants and whatnot start carrying the newer version, that doesn't have the aspartame, obviously that's going to be where I'll probably head. Either way, though, guys, that's my opinion. So yeah, if you're on the fence about the new Diet Pepsi, if you're like me and you prefer regular cola, but you realize that you should probably cut back on your sugar intake, over top of the Coke Life, or even the Pepsi Free or Pepsi Life or something like that Pepsi has. I need to get myself a bottle of it to try that as well. More than that, I mean, you could just go to your store very easily and pick up some of the new Pepsi that's aspartame free from the diet variety, and there you go. You've got yourself something that's going to taste very similar to the original. Obviously, it does have a slightly different flavor to it. I'm not going to deny that. But to me, it tastes pretty good and is something that I could potentially move myself to. So yeah, I recommend this. If you're on the fence, if you're thinking about it, go ahead and give it a shot and let me know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think. Post down in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. All of the social media links are in the description below, as well as some more information about this, about the Pepsi product and other things that I've found during the editing process and whatnot. I want to know what you guys think about this video. Are there other things that you think I should try and do so? Let me know, because if you got a few ideas you'd like to see me try, I'm all for it. I'll definitely hop on there and try pretty much anything. So let me know in the comment sections below. Though I've got to thank you guys, those of you who've watched me up here to the end. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching me this far. If you like this material and this is the first time you're seeing me and you want to see more, I encourage you to hit one of these 2 links up here in the upper corners. In fact, I'm probably putting Coke Life right here if you want to see that review. And then, of course, if you like my content and want to see more, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button above my head. It puts you front row and center whenever I release something, because it'll show up in your YouTube feed, and obviously it helps me out. If you like this video, thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down. And I encourage you to go check out my Patreon and potentially become a patron of my channel. All the money, proceeds, and everything going into that will go directly into this channel, getting me new equipment and whatnot. And obviously, you can get your name down in the marquee below. And, well, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, I recommend Diet Pepsi, too long didn't read version. I recommend the new Diet Pepsi that is aspartame free. And this is the Old School Otaku, signing off. Now all it needs is a little bit of rum. Captain Morgan spiced rum, obviously. And I'll have myself a wonderful, wonderful night. Bottoms up. Honestly, I cannot believe I actually like diet. What's wrong with me? I'm becoming an old man. I like diet.